day. So 2 times 2, 16. 1 and 6 is 7. It's less. 24. 2 and 4 is 6. 32 is 5. 40 is 4. Actually, it's going now. The first experience we have with Shyam Sundar is like Hari. He's like taking away first. Am I ready? This was the adventure that we spoke in the morning. So really, it's an adventure to enter with Krishna. That's why, this is one reason why he appeared on Ashtami, on the 8th day, just to show, be ready, what will happen. Many people think, when I together with God, I get more things, but it gets less. All security, all the reliability on all my experience and my surrounding, this may be taken away. So this is Janmastami, and we enter in such a relationship. And maybe just, actually when we celebrate Janmastami, it's not just on his Janma Leela, on his birth Leela. It's just because his birthday is celebrated since 5,247 years now, since a long time. And in Braj, it's celebrated since eternity. So they don't think every time, oh, how he's born. But they remember at every moment. They just absorb. And his birthday is just an excuse to make some special arrangements for him. But these special arrangements are anyway done every day. So that's why it's a day of deep relish. There's a person, a man, reading a book, sitting there, and his dog was looking this man, how he was reading the book. And the dog was thinking, it's very strange. Why is he not eating? Because dogs have the tendency first to quick look at that they eat, and then they eat. But the dog was thinking, now he's looking for such a long time, and he's not eating. So this is called projection. We project our experience and our world on someone else. I think they should maybe act in a very similar way. They should react in a very similar way. In theology, this is called anthropomorphism, that we project our ideas on God. And actually, we do this quite often. Why do practically all religions speak on the Almighty, the All-Powerful? Because we have an experience to live in an insecure world. And that's why might, power, has some value. Imagine if you're in an eternal world where everything is just wonderful, loving exchange. Then this idea of might and power has really not much value. I'm always thinking, if I would go down here to Locarno in a shop in the Migros and I pay with rupees, and then they look at me and they say, this currency is not valid. And really, this is true also for might and power. In the eternal world, where everything is complete love, this almightiness has not much value there, because it has a value in an insecure place where there is padam padam yadvipadam natesham, when there is danger at every step.
May I just ask, I'm sorry, because in Vaikuntha, it's also a spiritual world, and there's no fear,
Yes.
it's a loving exchange.
But there's a lot of Aishwarya, so that's why it's there.
So there it has a value.
Yeah, it has some value there. Because to increase the dasya above, then it's a certain value. Thank you. But also all-knowing. You know, this is a value that is extremely important in a world where everyone cheats you at every corner, especially in India. Sorry. So then, you know, better know some things. Otherwise, it might be difficult. So this tendency of anthropomorphism, we actually do a lot of times by considering almighty and all-knowing. But now really let's make a shift, let's make a turn to his world. This is the reason why he's coming in our world, to shift us towards his world. So then the question is, what are the values that are extremely important there? And there's especially two. Arjuna already spoke about. It's beauty and love. These are the value, the currency that has a lot of value there. And sometimes the Shastra, they confront us with this very great change. And to such a change, to such an adventure, Krishna is appearing to invite us to make the most radical change. And sometimes the Shastras, they give little hints, invitations. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Maya Dhakshena Prakriti, or Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mata Sarvam Pravade. Everything is completely dependent on me. Every movement in this world is dependent on me. But now, the Acharyas say, I take you by the hand. Let's go to Shyam Sundar's eternal abode. And what we see there, it's very astonishing and very shocking. We see that very personality. He's still quite a small boy. And he's looking. And Madhya Yashoda has a beautiful laddu in her hand. And Krishna is saying, I'm hungry. Can I get it? And she says, no, no, no. You have to dance first. So Krishna is dancing, you know, he's a little chubby and not very good. Sometimes he falls down. He stands up and says, can I have the laddu now? She said, no, no, not enough. Dance a little more. The acharyas are very astonished. That very person that lets everything dance here, he's being danced by the love of his devotee. And Krishna again and again asks, can I have now the laddu? No, no, little more. How wonderful. This is this existential change in the perspective. This is why Krishna knocks on our door by coming in our world. Actually, he knocks on our door. Or Brahma Samhita is saying, Pantastu koti satavatsara sampragamya vayoratapi manaso muni pungavanam. So if the greatest yogis would travel thousands and thousands of years in their meditation and with the speed of mind, they would not even attain the light coming from Shyam Sundar's feet. But very astonishing. If we are taken to Vrindavan, we see how that very same personality, Krishna, he's sitting there at the feet of Srimati Radhika, and he is with hands shivering, trying to paint some beautiful decoration on Radhika's feet. But he can hardly do it. And then he's taking his pen at the end and writes like a painter, makes a beautiful picture. And at the end, writes his name, Van Gogh, or something. So Krishna is also writing his name, Shyam. And then he's looking at his very name. And Krishna is saying, very strange. All the Vedic scriptures, they say, Abhinatva Nama Namino. There's no difference between me and my name. But I see a very big difference. And then Krishna starts to pray to his own name. Oh Harinam, oh my name. What have you done to attain that feat? This is extremely astonishing. I want to do the same sadhana, what you have done. So this is this wonderful personality that the greatest yogis travel for thousands of years. He is unreachable for them. But that very same personality is sitting in Vrindavan at the feet of Srimati Radhika. So this is this change of perspective. This is why Krishna appears. That's why he knocks on our door by appearing in this world. And maybe just we said love and beauty is the currency there. There is some beautiful songs in Vrindavan, very beautiful, that describe sadhakas, personality who did sadhana for many, many, many lifetimes. And now, this is what Maharaj discussed this morning. Krishna's appearance is very merciful for everyone, but also for the bhaktas. Some special souls. After many lives of sadhana, actually they will be invited to that Prakad Lila, to that earth Lila. So in some songs in Vrindavan, some personalities expressed that, how they came there and saw the extraordinary beauty of him. So they took birth as gopis in Vrindavan 5,000 years ago. And then one gopi who has never seen Krishna before, she describes that to one of her friends. And she said, I was just walking a little forest path. And can you imagine how close you are now? For many, many Bahunam Janmanam, for many, many lifetimes, it was a surrendering process. Now you attain there, but you have not seen him. But everyone speaks on him. And you feel he's very close now. Actually, already now, but there, very especially. And she described, I walked to a little forest path. And I had a pot of yogurt on my head. And then suddenly I felt someone throwing little stones on my yogurt pot. You know, and they gave some holes on the yogurt pot, and the yogurt was flowing out, and make abhishek on my hand. Everything is full of yogurt now. The gopi said, and I was a little angry. Why these small children here in Braj, they always have to play such mischievous things? And I, with an angry look, Roshan Drishti, I turned myself and I saw him in the bushes, Shyam Sundar. First time. And this gopi said, of course, all this little anger I had at that moment was completely melted away. But even all the remembrance from all the lives in this world were completely gone. I just looked at him. but then he disappeared again. Oh, Sakhi, where can I find this beauty again? I will never be able to sleep. Maharaj said very beautifully this morning. Why not eat and why not sleep? Because it's forgotten by an extreme beauty. And another gopi is describing in the very same mood. I was at the bank of Yamuna. And suddenly Shyamsundar appeared before me. He was looking in my eyes. And then he looked at a little, what is this called? Necklace. I had a beautiful necklace, and Krishna took his hand and teared it away. And he smiled at me and he said, let me become your necklace. Sometimes Srimati Radhika is saying, what has this garland of Krishna, this Vanamala that Vrindavana Vilasini beautifully described? She's a newcomer, this garland. You know, I live with him and I look at him every day and meditate. But why this garland? Just come and embrace him right in front of me. I cannot do that. Why is this garland like this? So Krishna feels like a little the same. Why is this beautiful necklace on the neck of a gopi that actually belongs to me? Krishna took it away and said, let me become your necklace. And then he ran away. And she said, and for many, many hours, I was just sitting there at the bank of Yamuna, completely lost. There's unlimited songs, maybe one more. One gopi describes to her friend, oh, I was in the forest of Vrindavan and suddenly Krishna appeared. And Krishna took me by the hand and said, let's stroll, let's go through the forest. Let's play at the bank of Yamuna. And I wanted to say, but maybe this is not possible. What will my parents say? Some thoughts were like this in the mind. But Krishna was smiling and said, my parents, Nanda Baba and Mother Yashoda, they spoke with your parents and they arranged a marriage between us.
Yeah.
And she said, I couldn't believe. And we had such a beautiful day. Krishna took me by the hand in the forest. But then, in the evening, I came home, overjoyed with happiness. But then I found out my parents didn't know anything about that. So, Krishna is knocking at our door to change the biggest perspective and to invite us really in the land of beauty and love. And he wants also to take us by his hand. So this is really the reason of his appearance. These are just some little thoughts as an introduction of Maharaj. If you can take over.
ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानं जनाशलाकय चाक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। निखिलाश्रुतिमौलिरत्नमालदिति निराजिता पदपङ्कजन्त आजिमुक्तकुलैरुपश्यामनं परितष्टं हरिणं संश्रयामि। हे लोडुनितखेदया विशदया प्राणमेलदमोदय सम्यक् शस्त्रविवादय रसदया चितर्पितुन्मादय शाश्वतभक्तिविनोदय समादय माधुर्यमर्यादय Sri Chaitanya Nide Daya Tavadaya Bhuyadamandodaya Rasagana Muhana Murti Vichintra Kili Mahotsavola Sitam Radha Charana Viloditam Ruchirashikandam Harim Vande Vrindavaneshwari Tavaiva Padara Vindam Primamritaikamakandara Soghapurnam Hridyarpitam Madhupater Smaratapamogram Nirvapayat Paramashitalamashrayami Bhaktya Vihinaya Paradalakshay Shipta Shakamaditarangamadi Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ji ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Gadadhar Ji ki jai, Shri Krishna Janmastami ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Ananda Dham ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Haribo. So I'm very blessed because of many things, but specifically now because I'm getting to say something after hearing all of you saying something. So I have the extra added layer of mercy of having received the input of each one of you, enriching whatever I may have to say. So if something good comes from me, it's because of the mercy of those who spoke before me. So in advance, deep gratitude for that. So as today in the morning we were talking on Sri Krishna Janmastami from a more, let's say, general layer, as we were talking yesterday about Krishna's unconditional love for every living entity. Yesterday we started with that topic. That was not a plan, but it came. Krishna loves every single one of us, unlimitedly, infinitely, without beginning, and not only his devotees, but everyone and everything, because he's made of love. So if you are love, you cannot not love. And that's a limitation Krishna has. He cannot not love because he's Rasavai Saha. He's made of love. So he loves everyone and everything in different ways. He loves his devotees accordingly to the approach and reciprocation, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't love everyone else. So we were talking today in the morning about, and the Bhagavatam says in many places, Krishna's avatar, Krishna's descent into the world is for the benefit of all living entities. So that's a preliminary way of explaining Krishna Janmastami. Again, there are many layers of why Krishna comes. Krishna does one single thing, unlimited purposes are fulfilled simultaneously. It's not that he only does one thing and that has only one meaning for a certain group, and that's Krishna. No, that's not Krishna. He's Anta in every sense, possible sense, unlimited. So when he comes to perform his lila, it's for the benefit of the whole of creation. He comes with that intention, whether we say yes or not to that. So we explain about that a little bit today in the morning. And Krishna Chandraji was very gently, lovingly pushing.
Forcing.
No. Well, forcing through the force of love. So that's it. But let's talk about Krishna coming for the devotee. No. So we explain about the purpose of Krishna coming for the benefit of every living entity out of unconditional love in every possible direction. So we try to cover that layer. But also Krishna is performing his Janma Lila for the sake of his devotees. And there are different types of devotees. And for each one of them, Janmastami has a particular intention and meaning. No? For the sadhakas, for the sadhana siddhas, for the nitya siddhas. So today I'd like to share a few words about all those different layers of why Krishna is coming and why we are celebrating today. And hopefully making full circle about how all of that is blessing us who are here now as well, right? So we were briefly mentioning today this verse of the Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, where Krishna is saying, my birth is divine, my actions are divine. So we're saying from an Aishwarya perspective, Krishna is Aja. He says a few verses before that, I'm Aja. Aja means unborn. So I'm born, I am unborn, but I am born. So that's a paradoxical nature of God. I am born, I'm unborn, but I'm born. But when I'm born, Abhyayam, he says in the Gita, I always appear in my same self identity. It's not that Krishna is born and every time Krishna appears, it's a different person with a different psychology and nature and sense of identity. He's always the same person. He's always Krishna. So, and he appears, he says, Atma Mayaya. I appear by my own energy. So my advent is because out of my Swarup Shakti, out of my inner potency of love. So I'm not born in the normal way people is born. I appear out of love, basically. I appear through my Swarup Shakti means I appear out of love for the purpose of love, because of love. And we will explore a little bit in which sense Krishna is born out of love, for the sake of love, because of love. Like Kavi Karnapur, Arjun was quoting Kavi Karnapur, and when he said Kavi Karnapur, was thinking this famous thing that Kavi Karnapur will say in connection to Janmastami. He said, Krishna's birth on earth is only for the sake of Nanda and Yashoda. This whole Leela on earth is only for them. Like making the point. Of course, it's not only for them, but he makes the point. Only for them because Nanda and Yashoda, especially Yashoda, he will say, no, but both. In the detail Leela in Golok, Yashoda is not giving birth to Krishna. Right? Krishna is there. And there's birthday party and all that, but he's not born in Golok. So for her to experience the joy of giving birth to Krishna, we need a Bhoma Lila, a Lila on earth. So Kavi Karnapur makes this bold statement. All this Bhoma Lila is for her pleasure. Of course, from different perspectives, we can explain the whole Lila for the pleasure of that devotee and for the pleasure of that devotee. And that's how Krishna operates. He does one thing, and it's for the ultimate pleasure of every single one. That's the potential. So he's appearing, as we say, first of all, out of unconditional love for all living entities to establish dharma. He says, Yada yada hi dharmasya, he says in the Gita. Again, could be a more generic, Aishparik, if you will, perspective. He comes to establish dharma, or as we explained dharma today, dhara ma, that which holds us, that which sustains us. Dhara means to sustain, to hold, and ma means me. So that's Krishna's unconditional love. That's what sustains us. What sustains everything ultimately. What keeps the world in orbit. In English, they have this saying, love makes the world go round. So when you take out love and the planet stops spinning, everything goes to. So we could say, out of dharma, out of unconditional love, I come to everyone. But then he says, paritranaya sadhunam. I come for my devotees. So that's another layer of descent. Avatar for everyone, unconditional love for every jiva. Now comes more on that foundation of broad universal love. Now we get more specific. He says, I'm coming for my devotees. Paritranaya sadhanam. This one verse before Janma Karma. So he says, I come to protect my devotees. So different acharyas have said different things, like why Krishna needs to come to protect his devotees. Like if you are a devotee and you're surrendered, he's promising that he will protect. Part of Saranagati is Krishna will protect me. So why he does need to come to protect me? It's supposed that he's already doing that. So which type of protection he's referring to? Some acharyas have thought in these terms. So they have said he's coming to protect those devotees who are so advanced that they are dying in separation of Krishna. So he comes to protect those devotees from themselves. there's a certain point in our devotional development where basically we can no longer live without the direct darshan seva association of Bhagavan. There's one of the 10 stages of separation called mrityu, which means death. Doesn't mean that you die literally, but you feel like,
It's the Baba.
yeah, unless and until I have this darshan, this opportunity, that's it. There's nothing else. Everything got reduced to that point. Unless and until this happens, I don't see anything in any other. So paritranaya sadhana, Krishna is coming to save them by giving them his spurti, his darshan, his audience. So, because you were quoting today the Bhagavatam, Anugrahaya Bhakna, Krishna is coming to give mercy to his devotees. So,
Can I
Vishwanath,
just quickly ask?
yes,
You said he's coming, give the darshan to save them, but Krishna Chandra always tells us it's like drinking salt water. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. So if he comes, then the separation pain gets even worse.
so what to do?
Yeah.
Better not to see Krishna and ever.
No, I don't know, but you just say he comes to save, but actually then the thirst, that's how he always explains it, the thirst gets bigger. Drinking like
You're
salt
making
water.
such a mess, Krishna Chandra, now by saying those things.
Sorry.
By saying all those things that are actually true, you're creating all this. Welcome to the paradox of love, Chamasundari. Bahya Biswa Jalahai Vitari Anandamai Krishna Premi Adbhuta Charit. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami say, on the outside, Bahya Biswa, on the outside, Krishna Prem, divine love, seems like poison. Seems like death. Seems like, oh, the problem is increasing now. Vitari Anandamai. But internally it's full of joy, full of bliss. So again, these things that it's getting worse, it seems it's getting worse. It's on the outside, it seems I'm dying. It seems I'm suffering. But there's a paradoxical quality. I mean, love is the ultimate paradox. And we, the more we get close to love, and that's a whole different conversation, but an important one. If we want to thread the path of love, and we have to learn more and more to think paradoxically, to be more able to entertain things that normally they are contradictory. But when you reach that point, all the things find perfect harmony and integration. So even here, no, you have a bar of ice, which is cold, but you put the hand of the bar of ice for a while, it starts to burn. It's like, what? So here you have some glimpses of paradox that point to the realm of paradox, right? So love gives total fulfillment, but love creates a thirst that has no end. So love gives satisfaction, and it creates its own form of dissatisfaction, ever increasing. But we have to be very careful not to translate that as the dissatisfaction we know so far here now. That's completely another tattva, another category. But that's how it works. Love fulfills all desires, everything is fully satisfied, but love creates its own necessity. Prem prayojan. Prayojan means necessity. So we could say prem is the ultimate necessity, or we could say prem creates the ultimate necessity in the form of further prem and further prem. And that's what keeps the lila going on in the pursuit of further prem, further thirst, further prem. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and just say this and explains this famous verse from the Bhagavatam. Bhakti parishanu bhavo bhiraktir anjata chaisa traika kala papadya manasa jatasnata tusti pustik shuddha payo nugasam. So he's giving this example of eating with bhakti. No? Like when someone is hungry and you eat, you experience three things. You experience the strength of eating the food, the nourishing, you experience the taste, and you experience eradication of hunger. So he says, similarly, when one engages in bhakti, you experience strength, inspiration, you experience taste, and you experience eradication of hunger, eradication of material desires, etc. But then he quickly makes the note. Yes, but ultimately this example is not fully accurate. He says, because when you are eating, okay, you experience nourishing, you experience taste, and at one point you are no longer hungry, right? If you eat like this, at one point it's like, please, no more. Eating more is a torture at that point. But he says, you cannot apply that to bhakti, because that never happens. In bhakti, never happens like, oh, I had enough, I'm full. It's not possible. So say it's just an example to give an idea, but the analogy is not fully successful, because bhakti, instead of saying it's too much, I'm too full, it's the opposite. More and more and more.
That's why I often cook pasta here. You can keep on eating.
Not me.
Thank you for the Shastric reference. So anyhow, some thoughts on that. Thank you for the question. You want to say something? Sure. So we were mentioning that. So Krishna comes to protect the devotees in that context, to save them from themselves, dying in separation, giving him their audience, their association, giving them, as Damayanti said, coming with their full home, open doors, all associates, gifting all the creation. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in Madhurya Kadambini, in Raga Varma Chandrika, when he's describing when Krishna comes on earth to perform his lila, and there are three types of people, or we could say four, that get benefited from that. He will say Krishna comes on earth like he did 5,000 years ago, and like he's doing in some planet Earth right now at this moment. So he comes with his own retinue to perform lila. So one group is like, of course, his eternal associates are benefited by that, blessed by that, enjoying. It means Krishna himself, of course. Then there are those who are sadhana siddhas, who attain perfection, but still are just one step before entering the ultimate lila, so to say, attaining vastu siddhi, what we call. And they are born in a womb of a gopi in that particular earthly lila, and they get bhakti samskar from the womb. That's particularly powerful. Imagine you are born in the womb of a Braja Gopi in the planet Earth where Krishna is performing his lila. So those are your impressions, childhood impressions. There's no childhood trauma there. No unresolved issues with your parents and stuff like that. Everything is like eternal associates. Your neighbors are need to see that. That's another stuff, right? So that's very important blessing of how Krishna's Janma Lila, Janmastami, is blessing his associates. There are those who are not sadhana siddhas, but who are sadhakas, and somehow happen to be at that precise, as I say in English, happen to be at the right place in the right moment. No, well, that's an extra blessing, of course, no doubt. And he says, there are ordinary people also that may be there. Krishna may appear. It doesn't mean that every single person around is a need to see that pure bhakta. It can be somewhere else, and they will receive that particular mercy and blessing. So again, all these different categories of people are blessed by Krishna. But ultimately, when Krishna is saying, I come for my devotees and I come to give pleasure to my devotees, I like to just concentrate on this. Okay, maybe later. Thank you. So Krishna comes again to give audience to those devotees who are dying in separation of him. He blesses whomever is there, ordinary people, sadhakas. He blesses the whole universe, even if we are living somewhere else. Damayanti?
I have one question in this way, because sometimes I hear the ordinary people, they could not see the leader.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it? Did they see something, or how do they benefit from it if they didn't see the leader?
Well, I would say that ordinary people doesn't mean necessarily someone like adverse to Krishna. It can be just someone who doesn't have the, again, it's not Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha, even a Sadhaka. We can call them ordinary people if you want to use that term. I don't want to sound like, oh, they are ordinary people. How far I am from being an ordinary person. But that doesn't mean, I mean, imagine even if you're someone who has no connection with bhakti, but you are surrounded by Krishna and his associates executing Leela, and you can be really impacted by that. Maybe you don't have the full vision and understand immediately, okay, this is Krishna with his retinue, associates. But if you are open and sincere on some level, you can very quickly realize that. So that's also like by extension, of course, I'm going to Gaur Leela here, but so many times we hear ordinary people were there and they just looked at Mahaprabhu and were like transformed, but they were ordinary people. So you could make the same case. Oh, they were ordinary people. They couldn't see Mahaprabhu for who he was and his Leela. They couldn't see, while when he saw them, they could see somehow. No. So of course the point is made. If you have ordinary vision, you cannot see the Leela. But if you are open and willing to some little yes and receiving the grace that is coming from those people, that gives you access to that. So again, Krishna is coming to save his devotees, advanced devotees from themselves, giving mercy to the whole universe, ordinary people, sadhakas, sadhasiddhas. But I like to conclude on the note on Krishna coming also here with his associates, Nitya Siddha Parikar from Braj, to give pleasure to them also, and to be blessed by them in the loving interaction, because again, it's reciprocal. And which are the consequences of that? Because all of this is in the context of this verse of the Gita we mentioned in the morning, Janma Karma Chave Divyam Evanjuveti Tatvata. Krishna says, if you know the actual reasons for my birth, in fact, for what it is, then you attain the ultimate liberation for us is Prem. So what Krishna means, understanding tattvataha, no? The reasons for my birth as it is. So I would like to unpack a little bit the ultimate consequences of Janmastami. So Krishna comes on earth, again, multiple purposes, blessing everyone in every direction, but he's also coming with his eternal associates, and they're performing Leela and loving interaction together, especially with the Brajavasis. Krishna is born, as Arjuna was saying, as Brajavasi, which is according to our Gaudiya darshan, we will say Devaki Nandan Krishna is an expansion, and he merges into Jashoda Nandan Krishna. The gopis say that, Gopi Gita. Jayati te dikam janmana braja. No? Janmana braja. They are the highest shastric authorities. If the gopis say so, we bow our head there. So they say, Jayati te dikam janmana. Oh Krishna, your birth is so glorious because of being born in this land of Braj. So they are saying, you are a Brajavasi. So Krishna is a Brajavasi. That's an important point for our Janmastami discussion. Krishna is born in Braj, in our conception. So he is a Brajavasi. Our God is a village boy, so to say. And as we say today in the morning, he has nothing to do but engaging in Leela. He's Leela Moy, he's Deva, he's only playing, adventurous, one adventure after another. So when he comes with his Brajavasis, for all of them is a unique relishment. Many acharyas there are different opinions between some acharyas, but many of them will emphasize the Leela on earth has an added feature of sweetness in comparison to the sometimes called the Deva Leela. And again, be careful not to analyze with dualistic mind. This is worse, this is better, this type of stuff. But it's just a way of highlighting the Leela on earth.
Some specialities.
Yeah, exactly. Some features that you will find only there. No? One of them, again, what we are celebrating today. Krishna is born. He's not born in Golok Vrindavan. He's born in Gokul, in the Bowman Leela, among other features. And again, here we are not trying to make any comparison in a dualistic way. So we have to be careful with that. Keep the non-dual picture in mind as well. So, but Krishna comes with his associates, and they enjoy Lila together in Earth. As we say today in the morning, it seems that planet Earth is a very fitting stage for Krishna's loving pastime, loving Lila. He's coming over and over again to one planet Earth after another. So he gets deeply engrossed in loving the Brajavasis. Now, he's born as a Brajavasi. That's his abhiman. That's his ego, in the not false ego, but real ego, sense of identity. If you are interviewing Krishna, you ask him, "Who are you?" He will say, "I'm a Brajavasi." From the Vrindavan psychology, he won't say, "I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead." No. If he will say that, that will be his false ego. No, that's false ego. In Vrindavan, who you think you are, God? Come on. Right? Even when he shows godlike features, as we know, Brajavasis won't buy into that.
Yeah.
No, they immediately will say, Garga Muni predicted he will be blessed by Narayan, extraordinary things will happen through him. Or I don't know, when Krishna is lifting Govardhan, so many. No, I mean, that's pretty Aishvaric. No, you have a 5-year-old child raising a whole hill with the smaller finger of the weakest hand for a week. And like just like comfortable, like just playing flute, celebrating, it's like casually lifting Govardhan. I mean, if you were thinking in Braj, like, what's going on here? No, it seems that there's something
mystical.
Yeah, some rumor started to come, like maybe he's God, maybe he's something extraordinary. Rumor, no, like gossip. That's the prajalpa, no, like gossip. Maybe he's God, maybe I don't know. No? So sometimes it is said that after the, of course, many things happen, as we know, when Krishna was lifting Govardhan, even in the psychology of the Rajavasis, Yashoda was only thinking he must be hungry because he's making such a big effort. So let's bring preparations, and he start to feed him. That's his psychology, and his friends will be, I don't know, Sri Dham will come and say, Krishna, you must be tired, and I'm stronger than you. I always defeat you in wrestling. So give me the heel for a moment, that you just take some rest. And the other friends are like massaging his hand, his arm, so relax a little bit the muscles. That's their psychology. Or the gopis themselves are saying that as like, oh, he's lifting the heel, but actually he's not lifting the heel. The Govardhan just start to float, pleased by the yajnas of the Brajavas, and Krishna is so tricky that just he came and put the finger down, like, so it seems that he's lifting it, but Govardhan is just floating out of pleasure, and Krishna just put the finger for the selfie, for the picture. I'm lifting Govardhan myself. So he's such a rascal. So they start to abuse him, to do bullying him, transcendental bullying. But anyhow, after the lifting of the heel, some elders come to Nanda Maharaj, as we know, and they ask him, like, I mean, Krishna did something pretty extraordinary. So some rumors are starting to come that maybe, and they're kind of afraid, like maybe this aparat, what we are just about to say, but maybe he's God. And they are like, what will happen? I say. and then the Maharaj immediately replies in pure Brajavasi psychology. Vatsalya Prem. Like, no, it's not. That's not possible. He cannot be God. I mean, I worship God every day in my altar. Narayan is there, the Shila. I know how God is. God is self-satisfied. Krishna is not self-satisfied at all. He's full of necessities and needs. And he's not aware of his romantic necessities, but what he knows already makes him think that's too much. No? And he's always lying. He's always stealing. I mean, God doesn't do all those things. No good. God is a moral character, good person, exemplary role model to follow. Krishna is the antithesis of that. He cannot be God. That's his.
My shoes.
That's his. So that's his logic. And everyone's in Vrindavan is like, yeah, of course, it makes sense. He's not God. And they continue.
Fully satisfied in the Siddhanta. Krishna is not God.
Yeah, that's it. So even when Krishna shows Aishvarya in Vrindavan, the psychology of the Brajavasis is that their madhurya increases. That's how it works. Well, they have madhurya in terms of sweetness in general, beside the rasa. Krishna shows something overtly divine and transcendental, and somehow or other their psychology makes them increase their intimacy for him. So in that exchange of love, of course, the Brajavasis love Krishna so much And Krishna is trying to reciprocate accordingly. Yayatamam prapadante. That's the promise he made in the Gita. So he's trying to uphold his vow. He's trying hard, trying to reciprocate accordingly. No? Even there are many verses, very nice sections in the Bhagavatam, which depict Krishna's humility and say Krishna is trying to reciprocate the devotee, but he feels embarrassed that he's not able to reciprocate. Swadhana atriptam. Sanatana Goswami says, Swadhana atriptam. Swa, he gives his own self, Swadhana, in charity to his devotees, but he feels atriptam, dissatisfied, feeling, I have not given enough yet. That's the nature of love, remember. It creates perpetual thirst. So you have given it's not neurosis, no, it's not psychological dysfunction, because it can seem like, what? But it's the nature of love. No? God himself, giving himself fully, and what else can he do? So here comes the main point I want to reach. And we touch upon that. I remember my first visit here. We're studying the Brahma Stuti. Yeah, so there is a particular verse, Esham, Gosham, Nivashinam, etc. So Brahma, at the very end of the Brahma Stuti, Brahmaji is saying to Krishna this very beautiful verse, and says, basically, Krishna, how you plan to reciprocate with the Brajavasis? I mean, what plan do you have? Because Putana wanted to kill you in the worst possible way, and you gave her Vatsalya Prem, right? So it's kind of disproportionate. She wanted to kill you, to cheat you in the worst possible, showing herself like a mother and want to kill a baby. That will appear in all the newspapers if someone tries to do that. It's like the worst thing. And you gave her Vatsalya Prem. So what you will give to the Brajavasis then? That they are giving their hearts, their wealth, their family, everything in their lives is just for your pleasure. So Brahma say, I'm bewildered, thinking how what you will do to repay them. Some guests keep coming.
Nitai.
I'm seeing more people coming in the back as well.
Kannst du dir schnell etwas trinken geben, dass ich abstellen kann? So spät noch. Das ist nicht Hai. Radhe! Haribol!
Finally, they made it. Okay.
Radhe!
Du kommst noch dran, ich sag das.
What did you say?
Radhe!
Oh, okay.
It's just a thing.
Continue.
Okay. So, which was the last thing I said?
What are you gonna give them, since you gave Putana Vatsalya Bhav, and now they gave you your heart?
Yeah. So again, all this is part of the consequences of Janmastami, right? Because Krishna comes on earth, is born as a Brajavasi, with the Brajavasi, engaging in Lila with them, but the love of the Brajavasi is such that now Brahma is asking Krishna, what do you plan to give them back? How you say in the Gita, Atamam prapadante, as someone approaches me, I reciprocate accordingly. So Brahma said, but you gave Putana all this, and Putana gave you basically nothing, almost. Something in previous life was there, but that's another story. But what you will give to the Brajavasis? And Krishna doesn't reply. He starts to think. Good question. So that's chapter 14 of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. So you need almost like 16 chapters. More. 18 chapters later, Krishna replies. He takes some time to think, because it's a good question. How you will reciprocate to them, what you will do, what you will tell them. No? So Krishna is silent, and he's thrown into a trance of its own, like inquiry, deep inquiry, what to do, how to reciprocate. I came here on earth, I was born a day like today, Janmastami, all this unfolded, and now I'm in the midst of this situation. What to do, how to reciprocate to these devotees. What's the purpose of my descent in relation to these devotees, the Brajavasis? So then we reach the height of the Bhagavatam, which is Rasa Lila, Rasa Panchadhyaya. And the height of the Rasa Lila comes the Gopi Gita, and after the Gopi Gita, Krishna was, as we know, hiding behind, camouflaged behind a tamal tree, witnessing the kirtan of the gopis in separation, the heart of Sri Radha blossoming in Vipralamba. And Krishna had disappeared from Rasa Lila, as we know, with intention that the gopis may increase their love. When the gopis asked Krishna, why you disappeared? We were dancing, singing, celebrating life, and you just disappear. It's like now we are having such a nice moment, and I wake up and I start running and disappear. And you're like, what happened with Maharaj? And everything was fine so far, but now he got some short circuits. Why? Well, it makes no sense. So Krishna, I'm not comparing, of course, myself with Krishna. He disappeared. And then he says to the gopis, I disappeared because I love you. And the gopis are like, huh? This is a very particular guy. No? Disappear because you love us? So, yeah, because I love you. And if I love someone, I want the best for that person. And the best for that person is that their love increase. And I knew that your love will increase by separation. That's why I disappear. Because I love you. And the gopis were like, oh, very charming guy. Interesting. And it made sense because after separation, now is coming the reunion, and it's like an upgraded version of the Rasa Lila coming. Their hearts have grown fonder. So anyhow, in that moment, but Krishna said, so I disappeared from the Rasa Lila, so your love may increase. And part of that was me hiding and witnessing your kirtan in separation from me, the Gopi Gita. And I disappear with that purpose in mind. But when I start to see you singing in separation, a new purpose came to my mind, which is I'm seeing that the degree of love that you have for me that I cannot actually reciprocate with. And I'm especially interested, and he's talking to Sri Radha, in experiencing firsthand what's that about. I didn't have that purpose in mind behind. Now this came. And so that's when Krishna pronounces this famous verse in the Bhagavatam, Napada yeham niravadya sanjuyam swasadu krityam vibudaya saptiva samavajam durjarageha shinkala sambrishya tadva pratyata sadhana. That's probably one of the most important verses of the Bhagavatam, if not the most. And there Krishna is telling to the gopis, and I'm just briefly saying, I cannot repay back your love. Now he's contradicting what he said in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is one thing. Bhagavatam is another story. Krishna says some things in the Gita, and then he contradicts himself in the Bhagavatam. He's embarrassed by the love of the Brajavasis. In Gita, he says, I reciprocate with your love accordingly. Here in the Bhagavatam, say, I cannot reciprocate with your love accordingly. It's too much. No. He says to the gopis, your love, I cannot reward your love. Your love is its own reward. That's the conclusion of the Bhagavatam. That's the conclusion of the Bhakti school. Love is its own reward. That's why we don't look for anything else but love. I mean, that's the ultimate reward. So Krishna tells to the gopis, your love for me, it's your own reward. I cannot pay back with something higher than the love you have for me. And that love is such a reward that I want that reward myself. I want to experience the love you have for me. And Sanatana Goswami explains this verse with Krishna saying, although I may not be able to repay back your love, I will come one time per day of Brahma as a sadhu and trying to repay back and trying to sing the glories of your love, and while doing so, trying to experience your love. So that's the verse of the Bhagavatam that is telling us or describing us in a very esoteric way the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are here celebrating Sri Krishna Janmastami, but it's intimately connected with Gaur Purnima. You can see how Krishna Janmastami fully applied. The implications of that takes us to Gaur Lila now. At the height of Krishna Lila, Gaur Lila manifests. Gaur Lila is an eternal reality, but it's a way of connecting the two. So Krishna is saying, I want to honor your love, Sri Radha. I want to sing the glories of your love. I want to taste that experience. I will come as a sadhu. He's saying all that in the Bhat. And that's the implications of Janmastami, Gaur Lila. So Gaur Lila is born. Sri Krishna manifests as Sri Gaur Hari, Gaur Krishna. And here we are as part of the Gaur Lila. We have been embraced by the grace of Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Shrishti Prem Sankirtan. That's the creation of Sri Chaitanya, the Prem Sankirtan. So, in one sense, again, Krishna is coming, a day like today is born, Janmastami, for the benefit of the whole planet, for the benefit of the whole world, for the benefit of ordinary people, sadhakas, sadhanasiddhas, nityasiddhas, brajavasis. With the brajavasis, he enters into the deep connection of love to the point that he realizes what to do, how to reciprocate. I cannot reciprocate, but I'll try to reciprocate. I will come as Mahaprabhu. Gaur Lila is inaugurated. And here we are finding ourselves as part of the Gaur Lila, in the midst of Gaur Lila, in a place like here in Ananda Dham, being embraced by Gaur Lila, talking about Krishna Janmastami. No? So in that way, we are trying to make some full circle between what Janmastami creates and how we are being brought back to Janmastami by the grace of Janmastami, by the grace of Krishna, by the grace of Gaur Lila. So for me, all this, it's part of Tattvataha, this verse of the Bhagavad Gita. For ones who know, in fact, as it is, the nature of my birth, when you understand it in all its full implications, you attain me. So a few thoughts that came. I mean, of course, we can talk about Janmastami from endless perspectives. So many things can be said, but I felt, well, let's try to emphasize that particular point. Are there any comments, questions, something that someone else would like to share?
I was having one thought
Arjun, yeah.
about you were mentioning that in Arjun Pradaya, it's like the Bhoma Lila has some special splendor to it. You know, one of our acharyas also said, if you're in the darkness of the material sphere, there's all of a sudden this diamond that glitters even more. And like you say, there is this extra dimension that Yashoda experiencing, actual birth of Krishna. But if that is true, that there is even something extra special, then you could say the ultimate destination of a jiva is not Goloka Vrindavan, but to be perpetually born in the Bhoma Lila.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
I will say, and I know this is a difficult topic to understand here, but we could say, yeah, part of our eternal destination is to be perpetually in the Bhoma Lila. You can make that point. And I know it's difficult, and because one say, okay, if Krishna is doing eternally Lila and on earth, but that doesn't mean that Golok Vrindavan is empty. You follow? It's not you go to Golok Vrindavan, there is a sign on the door. Sorry, we want to planet Earth. But the point is, he's always on planet Earth doing Lila, so it means there's nobody else ever there. No, it doesn't work like that. So Krishna is in Golok with his associates. Krishna is on some planet Earth with his associates, always. And we are invited to be part of both. That's part of the... And how does it work? I mean, for in our mind, maybe like it's a type of bipolar thing. We have two identities. What is big identity in Gaur Lila? And we may try to figure that out in our heads, and it's too much. So,
but often it is said, or at least that's how I understood and read it, that when you are at the end of your sadhana, basically, you take birth somewhere in the Dharma Lila,
Yeah.
that will be your last.
Yeah. Yeah. But some acharyas will say also you can accompany Krishna into the Bhoma Lila perpetually.
We can also say that the Brajbasis, from there, they don't even feel a difference because they don't know that they're in the material world.
Yeah.
From their perspective, like Rupa Manjari, Mother Yashoda, they have no idea. I mean,
I'm here, I'm there.
yes, it's just association. And there is Vaishishta specialities, but these Vaishishtas are anyway there every day.
Yeah.
So every day there's so many new things that were never before there. So it's like impossible for them to make any difference. Maybe one can also say that the Vaishishtyas, to give some special mercy, they're maybe mostly for others here, for karuna, to some really conditioned souls. So from our perspective, it's a very great speciality. But in Jaimadharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the most karuna Shakti Krishna is not even giving to this material world, but is actually giving in the spiritual world. This is something very deep, because we always think in order to give compassion, we need a fallen being like us.
You need someone in need.
Yes. But not
Someone
just
in
fallen
need.
in need, the love need they have is much bigger. That's why the greatest mercy potency is there. Someone can say the greatest Vaishishthya is even there in every day and every moment.
Yeah. Yeah, we have suffering here, but that cannot compare to the suffering in love. We have needs here, but doesn't compare with the necessities that come out of divine love. So as you said, you need much more equipped emergency department there. Right? Yeah. Yeah, and when we say that the earthly lila has its own specialties or vaishishtyas, it doesn't mean that the sometimes called the deva lila or golok doesn't have its own vaishishtyas. It's just each one has its own set of unique features. But again, we are not falling into worse, better, inferior, superior. That's
Maharaj, because yes.
oh,
Bhakti
Teresa,
Ras.
yes.
One thing I was thinking about earlier today, and ties in with what you're saying now, is that for Krishna to take birth, he doesn't have to die, whereas we do. So for every birth, even we're constantly being born, every day is a new day. So something needs to die for our new birth to happen. So I was thinking when Krishna's associates come and you were saying, well, they don't even know where they are. It doesn't make a difference to them because they didn't have to die to take birth again. So in the same way, Krishna doesn't have to die to take birth, but we continually have to die so that we can continually take birth anew again and again and constantly arrive. Like that might be why it's no different to them, because they don't have to die to take birth.
Although, of course, in another sense, they are dying constantly.
Yes.
And they are being born again in another level. That's the ongoing dynamics as we were talking today.
Evolution is.
Yeah, something has to die for something else to be born always. Yeah.
Maharaj, one little question, small one.
I don't. The small ones are the most dangerous ones.
When Krishna is like saying, I have no chance to reply to answer and, you know, to give it back. Is this also the case for souls here, that we have that feeling that we feel whatever, even now we already got, we feel I could never ever repay it?
Yeah, I will say it's from both sides. Both God, so to say, and the soul feel this is too much. No? So love, that's why I say love creates the ultimate depth for everyone involved. No? Krishna himself feels, I'm eternally indebted, I cannot pay back. But it's not that the devotees feel, we can't pay back to you. You cannot, but we can. No, everyone feels humbled. That's why Sanatana Goswami says, Dainya and Prem are cause and effect. No, Prem, love creates a type of humility, and that humility increases the love, and that love creates, because you have love and you become humble because of this too much. I don't deserve it. I cannot pay back, but also I cannot just relax. Now I cannot pay back, so I will go for taking a nap. No, I'll do my best, and the more I try my best, the more love keeps coming. So the more I try to give myself, the more my depth increases. That's how it works. But I cannot but continue. And the more time passes, the more the depth increases. And that's how Krishna subjectively feels himself. No? So that's very paradoxical. Even God himself feels an eternal debtor. That's what he says in this verse. He says to the gopis, not only I cannot repay back, I don't even know how much do I owe. No. If I imagine, if I have a debt of, I don't know, I know I have a debt of $5 million. I know that I owe $5 million. But what if the debt is so big that I cannot even count the debt? So that's the spirit of Krishna's word. I cannot even start to calculate how much I will have to repay back. So what to speak of paying back? I can't even reach the number because it's infinite. No? So that's his humility. And yeah, I would say it's reciprocal. But as we say yesterday, the very fact that Krishna's own unconditional love begins the whole thing, even when we don't have any love, and he feels so humble in loving everyone and feeling, even when we give a little attention, feeling, oh, like he said to Gopakumar, you have given me such a favor, a blessing by saying yes to my invitation, by fulfilling my longing of loving you. Thank you so much for saying yes. I'm eternally indebted to you. That's Krishna. That's the humility of that real humility that comes out of love. Yeah.
Shall we go to the Abhishekam?
Of course. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you like to say a few words about the Abhishek?
Please do.
Okay. Just